Hey, it's all about quality, not about quantity. Right? Let's get back to another round of Brewsday Tuesday with DreZ and Big Nate.
I just realized this isn't going to have as good a sound. At least,
Yeah, it's gonna look really cool though.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to have to move the mic down so it's not right by my face, though. I'm not trying to lose an eye over here.
So apparently we don't have enough bottle. That's what we need. Brewsday Tuesday bottle openers.
There we go. There we go.
Oh,
Indeed.
got it.
It is Brewsday Tuesday, brought to you by the Cellar Restaurant and Six Pack Store, downtown Blacksburg. Oh, man. Did you have a really cool bottle cap, too, with these?
Yeah. The Clairvoyant, 1988. It's a. If you're watching on video, you can see it.
I got Phantom of the Opera line, 1985. I wonder,
So they're throwing single artwork on these.
Well, I'm wondering if
88, that would have been.
do you think there's probably a whole array of these, and then if you buy a 6-pack of this, then you'd have 5 different ones?
I
or
would
whatever,
think
you
so. I mean, if you're gonna do that, yeah.
So we're continuing Iron Maiden beers on this awesome edition of Brewsday Tuesday. These are the first Iron Maiden beers that I've gotten in bottle formation. I just popped, and this is why I was saying I was excited. If you know this show, you know what will get me excited. This is Iron Maiden's Trooper IPA. So yes, they finally did do an IPA, and if it's anything like the other beers, we should know what year they made it. I guess I could just read the spiel, shall I? Iron Maiden, Robinsons Brewery, team up once again with Trooper IPA, a 4.3% ABV golden Indian Pale Ale packaged full of hoppy flavors. This IPA, which is a nod to its transatlantic cousins, was brewed by Bruce Dickinson and Martin Weeks after Bruce had enjoyed some of the rich IPAs that were available during Iron Maiden's Legacy of the Beast World Tour in 2019. The perfect seasonable drink to enjoy no matter what time of year. So obviously this must have came out, if they did that in 2019, this is circa probably 2020, I would imagine, at the earliest, or maybe not because of all the COVID stuff. It doesn't say specifically when it came out, but I guess, yep, 2020. There it is, down at the bottom. So this is the newest of the beers. What about yours over there? Is yours even newer, or is this taking a step back chronologically?
First of all, this label is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It's Robinson's Trooper Fear of the Dark. ABV 4.5%, 1 pint, 0.9 fluid ounces. And, of course, Fear of the Dark being the last album Bruce Dickinson was on before he left for a little bit. And then, of course, coming back, it's a 4.5% ABV dark roasted, full-bodied and rich stout with chocolate notes, created by Bruce Dickinson and Robinson's head brewer, Martin Weeks. Fear of the Dark is the first stout in the Trooper range and takes its name from Iron Maiden's iconic song and album of the same name. No release date on this one. But it does say down here, copyright 2020 Iron Maiden.
There you go. That's what I used.
Yeah.
As the
So
base. So these are the latest.
These
and
are your
greatest.
pandemic
So
beers.
yeah, exactly. It makes sense. And if the other one came out 2018 and that was the 6th, that means that they've got at
7
least
and 8 here.
Maybe even there might even be 10, 12, 14. Who knows? But
and they're surely working on more.
all right. Well, all I know is I am. Have you haven't had a sip yet, have you?
No, I've not.
So,
I
here,
just
how about
keep
this? Let's
smelling
cheers to Maiden. There we
up
go.
the irons.
This does have a nice aroma to it.
This is perfect.
Yeah.
Also, another thing, like, of course, they've got this, like, Crypt Keeper Eddie, but they got this, like, tombstone motif going on as well that
On the
just,
back.
oh, beautiful packagage.
Interesting. I just noticed that I can see inside my bottle after pouring, there's a lot of fun bubbleage. Don't usually see that with a lot of IPAs. I'll save my critique. I've only had one sip, but we'll see how it goes from here.
I've got to ask you before we dig into my Paul Di'Anno story. What is your favorite Maiden album? Do you have one?
I honestly, I might not. I mean, OG, your mind goes to the first Iron Maiden, but it's not because
It's much
that's
more
not the Maiden that you really
punk
know.
rocky.
No, I mean, it's tough, man. Because I mean, it's probably. I mean, I know it's a cop out, but Number of the Beast probably, man. I mean, that's.
Okay.
I mean, it's got your marquees. Number of the Beast is, if you've been listening to the Bear, that's the main one that we got in the library that will spike here and there. And then of course, my all-time favorite is Run to the Hills. That was my introduction to Iron Maiden. Is that song? They used to do it. People would call in to Elliot in the Morning in DC 101 back home where I would listen to, and on I guess it would be Fridays. If you did it early enough, you'd call in and say, "Let's Run to the Hills," and he would play Iron Maiden's "Run to the Hills," and it was Friday, and you're hearing Iron Maiden's "Run to the Hills" to start the day. It was a good.
That
thing.
is a good way to start the day. I was always the first Iron Maiden album I ever heard was Killers, and I do love Killers, but Power Slave.
Oh, Power
to
Slave.
me forever. Aces High, man, is one of the hardest hitting tracks I've ever heard. Then you've got Power Slave, which is phenomenal. Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, I feel like they really dug into this weird let's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, and I think that to me is forever their most powerful album.
Yeah, a great from the starter with Aces High and then the closer. It's just that's definitely up there, man. That's a good one.
So I'm gonna tell my Paul Di'Anno story.
All right.
Of course.
All right,
the
let's set
original
this-
singer for Iron Maiden, he only made it on 2 albums.
Did he dabble on was he on Killers a little bit?
Not
I thought he was only on Maiden.
I have to pull up. See, now you got me. It was Iron Maiden, the self-titled, and then there
Self-titled.
was a second one.
Did he hopped back on after Bruce joined the band?
There was some stuff that he's on backing vocals.
Okay,
Yeah,
that counts.
but I saw him. It was the anniversary of the self-titled album, and he was very clearly very bitter about everything. First of all,
So was it the 25th? Well, with 25th, 30th?
I can't remember exactly. It was 25th or it was 30th. It was one of those. Probably I'm leaning towards 30th. Just given
30th would be 2010.
Yes, then it was the 30th. And he was very bitter about the whole thing. So much so that he opened the show complaining that, my brothers and Iron Maiden aren't going to do anything to mark this anniversary, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. And he kind of knew it was going to be downhill from there. He was also playing it wasn't even a real proper venue.
So it was set as him touring for
Playing
the
Iron
30th.
Maiden tunes.
Okay.
And some of the highlights of the show include a bottle flying up on the stage. As you know, that happens in a.
I was saying that's
pit.
nothing new,
He threw a hissy fit. If one more bottle flies up here, I'm leaving the stage and I'm going home.
Well, when you hear that, then what happens?
Bottle goes to the stage, and in his defense, he did hold true to his word for a little bit. He left the stage, and then he came back out and gave us all a lecture, "Hey, be calm, be cool. We got this show going on." Well, it turns out he did end up ending the set early, but it also turns out at the time he was defrauding the British government for workmen's comp benefits.
So he shouldn't have been
able to stand or on tour, and he did some prison time for that particular tour that I saw him
Didn't
on.
think that one through.
No, he did not. And he's been in and out of prison for the last decade, and now I think he's suffering from some sort of illness that he's now trying to get benefits on again. We'll see if that goes through.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that's.
They threw him out of the band for drinking too much. Iron Maiden said, "Hey, get the hell out of here. You drink too much."
It's funny, man. Yeah, you hear about that. Certain. I think that was sort of the excuse of Dave getting kicked out of Metallica. Same sort of thing. Look, man,
You drink too much.
You're taking it too far, which is, and honestly, you hear that a lot. Which is when you're in a party band and you're partying,
You get
too
thrown
hard,
out. That's
yeah,
pretty bad.
It's a sign. But
That's a problem.
Well, it obviously worked out a little bit better for Dave than I guess for Paul. That's kind of sad. That being said, I want to go back to the bottle thing. These are plastic bottles, like water bottles. I hope they're not glass beer bottles. What venue were you at?
I can't remember. It was in Silver Spring, Maryland. It wasn't the Fillmore. It was like nearby.
Okay.
I mean, it was a little hole in the wall. Like there was.
So it very well could have been
it doubled as
bottles.
a diner, and I'm pretty sure it was plastic bottles.
Okay.
Well, it was definitely plastic. It wasn't glass flying up at him, and it wasn't like anyone was intentionally like, "Hey, let's hit Paul."
So
he was being a huge diva and thought he was more important than the rest of us.
So obviously, even if the show's going bad, you should never throw things.
No.
Up. Like I mean, that's uncalled for. That being said, I remember I was at a show recently. I think it was the Corn Show down. Of course, that was a big, arena in Greensboro, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. They wouldn't even give us the cap to the water bottles we ordered because they said, "Oh, they don't want you throwing it up at the band," which I'm like, that's pretty ridiculous and sad.
So
it's come to that.
I do have a theory about what they're actually worried about there, and I don't think it's the same thing that they claim. I think they're worried that someone's going to be in the middle of the pit and decide, "Hey, I've got to take a leak. Let me just seal this off real quick."
Cap the bottle?
I think. Because I've heard that same, like, I can't remember the last time I've gone to a venue and actually been handed the bottle cap back, and I think it has to do with peeing in the pit. I mean, I have no credibility, but
I don't think so.
How often do people really throw things at the stage? Other than panties and bras.
It happens enough. But that being said, also recently went to, and we talked about it, the 930 Club, and guess what? I ordered I got a Flying Dog in a bottle. And I was pretty damn surprised when they gave me the bottle of the beer. And I'm like, maybe it's just because people know better that they come here, hopefully, you would think. But I was shocked when I got that bottle of beer because then you can actually drink it and still do some damage.
Exactly. We haven't talked about your experience at the 930 Club. How was it?
The 930 Club was awesome. We went and saw the band called Palace. If you're not familiar, it's because we don't play Palace on the Bear. Don't plan to anytime soon. Sorry, BB. I know they're one of the ones you like. It was their birthday present, but no, it was great. Honestly, the venue was more enjoyable than the band.
That's one of my favorite venues. I saw
so cool.
Incubus there, Rob Zombie, Slayer. Slayer was weird because that's such a small setting to see Slayer. And it wasn't like, obviously, I'm not seeing Slayer back in their like club days. They had just done like a random one-off and
yeah, no,
they got a
930
lot
Club
of cool shows there.
was phenomenal. If you haven't been to a show there, I understand why. Like I've heard about it for obviously just decades, and I can't believe it took me this long to finally get there and go to a show. But
I mean, the Foo Fighters played the show to reopen it. Like that's.
And they also, and apparently the guy that does the anthem or does 930 Club opened that new venue, the Anthem, and Foo Fighters came out and popped that cherry. The coolest thing, and I didn't know about this. I'm surprised you didn't tell me that they have that sort of music history section at the 930 Club. How long? I don't know how long they've been there. If they've been doing that since you were there, they obviously didn't do it since its inception.
So that used to be a store that was next door, and they shuttered their doors shortly before the pandemic.
They were tired of banging on them. They're kind of banging on the walls, trying to turn the music
down.
Turn
it into that museum, and yeah.
Well, that's really cool. So for those that don't know, like basically,
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh well, so it must have been fairly recent, but I guess what they wanted to do is essentially every band that's ever played there, they wanted to get like the album that came out that they're touring in support of, and they have quite the collection, and I guess they're still looking for ones from previous, but now anytime a band plays, they just ask them to bring their latest album, and they add it to it, and it's essentially, you just see the year, and it goes from like, vinyl to, cassettes, and then CDs is the bulk of it, but
soon it's going to be flash drives.
All right.
QR codes.
No, I thought that was really damn cool. I mean, the venue was it was phenomenal. I definitely need to go back there. And there was a great, right across the street place that had some awesome craft beer that we were able to snag a beer before we go in. And yeah, I definitely need to go to more shows at the 930 Club. No question.
It's a DC staple for a reason.
No doubt about it. How's your beer, man? Mine's getting low.
I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I feel like maybe I rated the Trooper too high.
You might have.
I don't know. This is a different category, so I'm cool with it. But yeah, I'm tickled to death. If you're ready to untap these, I am too.
By the way, Untapped is how we like to keep track of our beers. It's a free beer app you can download to your mobile device if it is a smart telephone. DreZ Drinks is my handle on there. We got my man Big Nate Danger across from us if you want to friend us and see what we're drinking and what we're thinking. But what is the instance?
So once again, we're gonna start things with the label. They really just knocked it out of the park with the packaging on this entire Trooper line. For it to be a stout and 4.5% ABV, I kind of thought we were going to be sacrificing flavor, but that is not the case. This is a really delicious stout. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's pretty basic, but it's tasty. I'm going to give it a 4.75. Fear of the Dark, Iron Maiden, the Trooper. And we've got to find the rest of their hypothetical 8-pack to really compare notes.
There must be a lot more out there, and I would love to try all of them. If you find any Iron Maiden beers that we haven't drank today, please feel free to snag one for the show. That being said, obviously Iron Maiden's Trooper IPA is what I've been drinking. Like I mentioned earlier, very excited to try it since IPAs are my favorite style of beer. Makes sense why the other ones were really good. Those funny British styles, the bitter, I don't know, I guess the sake lager, that might be even a bit strange for the UK, but you notice that all the ABVs are low, 4.3, 4.2, right around that. That's just how they do it over there, you know. They do beers that they can just sort of drink all day. I think is sort of the motif over there in the United Kingdom. That being said, I think IPAs they must be a pretty American thing, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh no.
I'm not gonna lie. Leave the Iron Maiden beers
Brews.
to the funky, gnarly styles that they make over there that I don't know any better, because I'm sad to say that as far as an IPA goes, this is obviously not. It's not amazing. It's a bit lackluster. I mean, you know, ABV aside, you're not getting hops. This drinks more like a Pilsner than an IPA in my book. I mean, it mentions hops in here. I thought hoppy flavors. Maybe they didn't actually use any hops.
Well, even if it didn't mention hops, it says India Pale Ale, which by definition.
Yeah, you think so. I mean, it's still Iron Maiden beer. It's still the Trooper IPA. A for effort, maybe B for effort. I don't know. But a little lackluster for an actual IPA. So if I'm judging it strictly on the beer, it's probably a 3.5. If I'm throwing in the Iron Maiden factor, I'll bump it up to a 3.75. But that's the best I can do. I feel like the guy from Pawn Stars. That's the best. That's the best I can do for you. 3.75.
So what if they had just named it after one of the Blaze Bailey years tracks?
4. Then it's even more appropriate.
What they should have done.
It tastes like that era of Iron Maiden. So yeah, but I mean, it's still cool. It's still really sweet. I still think I'll throw the cap back on and put it up on the shelf as a little souvenir in my office, or maybe even up here in the Bear Studio somewhere. But yeah, stick to the other ones. The IPAs. I just don't know. I don't know if they know how to make a good IPA.
They were doing
over there.
great with the British style beers.
Makes sense, right? It's their bread and butter. Yeah. All right. Iron Maiden show in the books. Appreciate you coming in and enjoying and giving us some nice Iron Maiden trivia and history and experience sharing. We'll take a quick break. We'll get back with some tunes here on 105.3 The Bear. You should stick around.